Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel. Today I have the honor of sharing with you the brand new release from Colorado Craft Company. They have amazing stamps. This is one of the first ones. This is called Honey Bee. I'm going to be using it on my card today. Look at all those fun sentiments. And you can see with comparison to the size of my hand, how large these images are. It's really cool. It has that half hexagon that you can repeat stamp to make a full hexagon and just looks really, really cool. Here's a background stamp called Daisy and Bee background. I will also be using this one on my card today. And I really love all the juxtapositions of the daisies and the bees and the solids and outlines. Really, really cool. Here's another one of their big and bold stamp sets. This one is really, really fun with that huge crown and all of the sentiments on it. It's called A Queen's Crown. I think this would be really, really pretty with like a metallic embossing pattern. I think that would look phenomenal. Or even just like some like rainbow stamping with that huge crown image. I've got three here that are 4th of July or American themed. This is red, white, and blue. They've got that image over there on the side with the balloons, with the girl with her legs. They're known for their lovely legs series. This is part of it. Really fun little happy word that's got double stamping so you can do different colors. Here's another American themed one called America Strong. These are great for 4th of July celebrations, or like if you have a kind of like a traditional barbecue or something on the 4th of July. You could possibly use this for an invitation. You know, be careful out there with your large groups or small groups getting together. This one is called In This Together. I really love that large flag image. I think it's really, really cool with it looks like it's etched, looks like a fun thing, and I love the large, bold words. Colorado Craft Company is kind of known for their big, bold words. And then this is part of their summer season Lovely Legs series. They're going to have 4 stamp sets come out this summer. This is the first one called Sunflower, and it's so cute with that girl with all the sunflowers behind her and that huge one covering her face. I think it's just so unusual and really, really neat. Good sentiments on that one too. So I have giveaways for you today. Colorado Craft Company is giving away 7 sets to 7 winners. So 1 set per winner. So you can do that. And then I have, yes I do, I have 2 sets of stamps. I've already put mine in my stamp pockets for storage. So this unused set, the full 7 stamp sets, will be a grand giveaway prize. Details on how to enter the giveaway excuse me, are down below in the video description. All you have to do is click over and fill out a quick form with your name and email address, and you'll be entered to win. I'll draw the winners in a week, and the winners will be announced over at my blog. I'll have a link to where they'll be announced as well. So on to today's card. This is a really fun one with the big, huge bee image. I had so much fun. This is a really different card for me. I wanted to sort of stretch myself a little bit, use some colors that I don't always use, kind of these more muted yellow-brown tones, and it really lent itself for the theme with the honeybee and the sunflowers and things like that. So here's my card sketch. I'm doing one a little bit different today. I want to do a trifold card where one of the panels is clear acetate. So I'm going to be using an acetate card from Hero Arts. On the front of the card, you saw that bee. I'm going to be stamping that first on some vellum. I'm prepping the vellum with an anti-static powder tool. This is going to make sure I get a really good, nice embossed image in the end. I'm inking up my stamp with the Versamark ink, and as I was stamping this is when I realized that my Versamark ink pad is getting dry, and this is like, gasp, this is an emergency. I need to go get some Versamark ink and re-ink my ink pad, so I'm going to have to find it. I know I have a bottle of it somewhere. I'm going to have to unearth it in my craft room. So after I stamped, I applied some embossing powder. This is gilded embossing powder from Burtis Monroe. It's a nice gold shade, and I just hit that with my heat tool. And when you heat emboss on vellum, it doesn't take much time to heat up. It melts very quickly. So after I had that embossed, you can see I have that metallic image there. I then took my scissors and fussy cut around this bee. I want to have the bee sitting on the front of the card, the wings not glued down and sort of just hanging out there because I want the bees to be able, the bees' wings to be able to kind of float in the air a little bit. Now I'm going to work on my second panel. I've got 4 colors of distress ink. I'm going to be starting with mustard seed, and I'm using a blender brush today from Honeybee, fitting for this card itself, but it's from the company Honeybee. And I'm going to bring in some light yellow just kind of all over this 6x6 piece of white cardstock. This is Nina Classic Crest Silver White 110 pound cardstock, or I'm sorry, it's only 80 pound cardstock. I'm now using Wild Honey Distress ink, and this is going to come in and just add a little bit of depth, getting a little bit of that transition into a deeper yellow orange shade. And then came in with Spice Marmalade, which is actually a much more intense orange, but I did want to have a little bit of that intensity on these areas. Now, when I did this first layer of blending, I didn't want it to be very dark. And that's because I'm going to be doing some emboss resist, so I want this bottom layer to be fairly light. I'm coming in with Walnut Stain, and this is just going to add a little bit of brown in some of these areas. And this is also going to guide me when I do my second batch of blending. I can go over those same areas. Using my heat tool to speed up the drying process, Distress ink takes a little bit more time to dry than any other types of dye inks. So I just want to make sure it's completely dry. And to test to make sure that it's dry, I'm putting on my anti-static powder tool and then sprinkling on some embossing powder. This is Icicle embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. It is a clear embossing powder, and you saw that powder just slide right off, so that's how you know it's ready for the stamping. So I already prepped with that anti-static powder tool, so I'm going straight in and inking up my stamp with Versamark ink and then pressing down onto my ink blended background. I'm actually going to stamp this image twice because, like I mentioned, I discovered with my first stamping of the bee that my Versamark ink pad was a little bit dry. So I wanted to give it the best shot possible, and I really nestled it into that bottom corner of my MISTI and then stamped the background again. And this time when I stamped it, I really wanted a full impression, so I gave it my all. I used the elbow trick, which is what Kathy Rakusin says to do when you have a really big image. You know, just run your elbow over it. You just get a little bit more pressure than using your fingers. So I peeled that off the stamp, and then I applied that same clear embossing powder, the Icicle embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. Sprinkled that on, and then hit that with my heat gun until it was completely melted. Now, you don't see much of it right now because it is clear embossing powder on kind of a busy background, but as I start blending with the colors over the top, it's going to reveal the design. I love this. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite things to do with clear embossing powder. So I'm bringing in mustard seed, going over those areas, adding some more intense yellow, just trying to get that pattern to show up a little bit more. And as I add more and more ink to the top layer, it's going to reveal the design underneath. This is because the areas that were stamped and heat embossed resist the ink. It's like a slick surface. It won't allow the ink to touch the paper and stick, so it just glides right off. So I'm coming in with more Spice Marmalade, getting that intense orange color coming in. I really want that color to intensify and reveal the design underneath. And as I add more and more color on top, more of that design will come through. It just needs the contrast of the darker shade. I'm doing more Wild Honey, bringing in more of that intense yellow shade. I really love Wild Honey. I don't know why I don't use it more. It's a great color. And I also haven't used my regular distress inks in a while, so this was really fun. So the last color I'm bringing back on here is Walnut Stain. And I'm going to bring in Walnut Stain very sparingly because I don't want it to get too dark. But even saying that, it does look like I used quite a bit. So I brought in some of the Walnut Stain. But the thing that's cool about Walnut Stain is that it does intensify the background and really lets that design show through. So don't be afraid to use dark colors. I think it'd be really neat. So after I had all that blending done, I came back with a paper towel and just buffed off any of that excess ink that was hanging out on top of the embossing powder, just getting it off that slick surface of the melted embossing powder. So now I'm going to take the A2 layer dies from Waffle Flower, and I'm going to cut out a perfect 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch rectangle. It's the perfect size for my card. So I'll run that through my die cutting machine, and then I'm left with my panel that is perfectly cut to the size of my card. I like doing it this way because using the dies, I can kind of move the die around and pick the area of my background that I want. So I took some white cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I scored that at 4 1/2. So now I have a regular white card base, and I'm also going to bring in some clear acetate cards from Hero Arts. This is an acetate folded card, and I'm going to be adhering the two of these together to create a trifold card. So I'm going to add adhesive to one side of this card, and I'll be able to adhere on the inside. It'll make more sense once I show you exactly how it goes. So I'm just testing it out, making sure my plan is going to work and everything looks good. So I applied some extreme adhesive from Tombow to the back of my card, of the white card base, making sure I got adhesive all over that. And then I'm going to adhere it to the inside of the acetate card, and I'm going to have it fold opposite. I know it kind of sounds weird, but you'll see what I mean here in a minute. I'm going to open up that acetate card and put this right on the inside. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap between the fold and my new white card base. And now I have my trifold card. If you wanted to make this so it wasn't a trifold, but just like a booklet, you would just adhere that white card turned the other direction. To hide the adhesive, I took some Neenah Desert Storm Environmental cardstock and adhered that to the very back of the card. So now I have my card base created. I'm going to adhere my ink blended and heat embossed background to that first panel, the white panel. So I guess it's actually technically the second panel, but the first panel is completely clear. So I just pressed that down. I actually used a paper towel to help me press it down because I was worried about getting ink all over my fingers. And this just also buffed it off more of that ink if it needed it. So now I'm going to adhere that B to the very front of the card. So this front of the card didn't want to stay down, so I held it in place just temporarily with some washi tape. And then I took some Gina K Designs Connect glue and I added glue to the back of the Vellum B in strategic places where the embossing powder was more solid. And I wasn't sure how this would work, like if it would work out well and not be too visible, but you'll be able to see in the final photos that the adhesive does not show at all through the clear acetate, which is really kind of cool. Glad I figured that out. So I'm pressing that down, and in order just to give that the best chance to adhere and for the glue to dry, I put some clear blocks on it for a few minutes. Went and grabbed some gold rhinestones. These are from Studio Katya, these little gems. And I used a Marvy jewel picker to pick up all of the gems and then adhere them using some Gina K Designs Connect glue. And that worked out super well. I don't think I've ever actually used gems like this before. I don't have too many, I just have a few colors, but I really love the look of this. It gives it a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of dimension. And as this card is, I'm going to have to put it in a special envelope anyway when I send it off to a recipient. So I wasn't too worried about having some gems cutting through an envelope because I think I'll probably end up putting it inside a padded envelope anyway. So here's the finished card, the trifold with the ink blended piece and then the clear acetate on top. I love how it looks like that bee is just floating over the top of that background. It looks really, really cool. Just a reminder that I have giveaways for today, so make sure you check out the link down in the video description. And you can also click over and buy these products right away. There are links in the video description. This release is so fun, and I couldn't resist using all of these bee products. Thanks so much for watching today. I will be back very soon, tomorrow in fact, with another card video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.